Welcome to the FORE Show. It's Tuesday, June 19th. I'm your host, Greg Pattison. Joining us today by phone is Joey, aka Joey Madrid. We're going to talk a little U.S. Open hangover. You're listening to the FORE Show. Hey Joey. So I'm stuck with like what I call the U.S. Open hangover, right? You know,
Well, I think we're all a little hungover with that headache and stuff after that. So,
yeah, no kidding. So I'll ask you point blank, what of all that happened, what is on your mind, man? What's the headache from the US Open for you?
um, the headache was listening to Paul Azinger say the same thing over and over for 2 days straight after they kind of lost the course on Saturday, and just constantly talking about pin placements. Like, yeah, we get it. Let's move on. At one point, Joe Buck even tried to tell him, I was like, okay, let's forget about how the course was. Let's talk about how they're playing. And it was like, yeah, let's see, let's see the best players in the world go against probably one of the toughest courses right now with the way it was playing. And they just kept talking about how, like everybody wants to pin everything on the USGA because they have had this happen in the past, and it was just like, let's just get back to golf, and everybody's got to play the same course. So what does it matter? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's it's funny you say that. So you say you got to play the same course, but you look at, what everybody's saying now and think back to the coverage, it was 4 days, almost four separate courses,
Right,
right?
right.
I mean, just crazy in the way it went, and there's a lot going around, in the media now about, the difference between, Saturday's round and Sundays with Ricky going 19 better from 84 to 65. And,
Right.
it's just, it's just crazy. I don't, somebody said, I don't think the USGA was that happy to see a 63 shot, or the folks at Shinnecock
Yeah.
might have been that happy to see a 63 shot on Sunday. But yeah, for me, the hangover, the headache is I'm gonna go with you. The Azinger's part of it, but it's really more, the whole Fox coverage, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
just
Right.
it doesn't seem to get any better any year, and they're good guys. Like Zinger's one of my favorites. I loved following that guy. I followed him at the Memorial one year with my
Yeah.
buddy, and it's probably the coolest upfront experience I had. The 15th hole is, this par five, and he clips it off a tree, kind of like Jordan did at Augusta
Oh,
this year. He clips it off a tree in the tee box, so he's only like 100 yards off the tee, if that, right? And we were just trying to walk up to the landing spot. We had left the tee box. We're trying to get up to the landing spot, and he clips this tree and he's there, and he wants to lay up, but you got to carry some cabbage between to the kind of the next section of fairway, and that's over the hill if he can get that far. And he's asking his caddy, he's like, hey, how far is it to this number? And the caddies, or to this area, and they just had a mixed communication going back and forth. So he's going back and forth. He's like, no, I need this number, like the here. And the guy's telling him something. And he's like, hey, I mean, they just didn't get it right, right? And it was literally me and my buddy Nick, and we're just standing there watching this. And finally, Zinger just goes, fuck it, I'm gonna hit the shit out of this one. And he just yanks a hybrid out of his bag and just pounds it down there. It's like my favorite Zinger moment. But you get facts, and obviously they're all good folks, but it just comes down to really more behind the scenes. I don't think they
yeah.
prepared those guys for that much, very well. Like I told you, you watch it online. I'm trying to watch something online and looking at it over, and you told me, you said, "Hey, go look at the coverage online." I'm looking at it online, and I'm watching on TV, and it had to be almost 7 minutes between
Oh, yeah.
the difference of them, right?
What I noticed too was, well, the producing, like you're saying, like they weren't going to the right camera angles. They had some weird camera angles, but like you could tell that the cameramen aren't used to following the golf ball, because they were looking at, just like the fairway, hoping that they would see the ball, fall down. Where if you watch like NBC and CBS, man, those camera guys are following the ball the entire way in the air, like, and yeah, definitely the production value was definitely down with Fox for sure. It has been like that for what, the past 3 years or 4 years, for the U.S. Open.
Yeah, they were good to get Greg Norman off the coverage too, but
Oh man,
but
I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
I never thought I'd be begging and listening to Johnny Miller over Paul Azinger though. Like, Johnny Miller's just as bad.
Yeah, well, yeah, at least
If they could
Zinger
have,
was playing with the current crop at least. Well, not the totally
if,
current group, but
if they could have, like Faraday and McCord, if they did all the commentation for all the golf would be a heck of a lot funner to watch. That's for sure.
absolutely. Well, they should hire. They ought to hire the Golf Channel staff behind the scenes just to run it and put a band-aid on it that says Fox, right? Here, Fox Sports, and it might work out better. There were a couple other interesting things coming out of there, from the Hangover. There's a lot going on as we follow the Hangover news of the U.S. Open. A bunch right now around Phil Mickelson, including his wife Amy. She's coming to his defense, and that's another one saying he was willing to pull out. He contacted Mike Davis and said, "I'll withdraw." So
yeah, I read that. Yeah, that's crazy. But like Phil said, he knew the rule and he took it to his advantage instead of playing army golf and going left back and forth the whole time. He was like, screw it. I was watching old videos. Freaking John Daly did that a couple times, and nobody really made us think of it then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, I mean, on a course like that, I almost don't blame him for it. I mean, it's kind of weird, but, I mean, the guy's pretty much out of the tournament. He's going to take his 2-shot penalty, which is probably worse than if he would have let it, because he could have played an unplayable and put it back up where he putted it before and just took one stroke, So he kind of hurt himself more than anything. And a lot of people thought he should be disqualified, but in the rules, I mean, that's another rules of golf thing that needs to be changed probably, before people start to take advantage of that.
Yeah, well, they had a couple ways they could go, right? Whether it was intentional or not. I mean, he took a swipe at it. That's the excuse, is that that he went and actually made a stroke, and Mike Davis was like, oh well, he almost made it. Okay. Well, how about I run right after the putt and just knock it in real fast, right? We've all had those putts that are sitting on the edge. And
oh yeah,
I mean, it was and he said he thought about it, right? He thought about it, and 6 or 7 times before of doing it, right? Well, there's intent right there, right? And Chambly said Phil should have DQ'd himself. So, it goes both ways. I mean, you get frustrated. We've done it. I've been known to knock the ball around the hole 5 or 6 times. Right? I've got a club championship or 2 that I've lost it on, right? So it is what it is. But I think who better? I mean, if somebody could do it, right? It was him. There's been questions of whether or not other people would have been disqualified, right? If they were a lesser known player, and I don't know that, and I don't think at the end of the day, the USGA doesn't need to protect the field. I mean, they don't. I mean, they set those things up so hard they could lose anybody. They lost Rory. They lost all them. A ton of main players. So it isn't well.
Jordan, Rory, Jason Day. They lost all kinds of people.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's a small tournament, or one of the smaller ones that needs to, is going to lose so much money if Phil Mickelson doesn't play on the weekend and no crowds are going to show up, right? I mean,
right.
You're going to watch it regardless of Fox coverage. You're still going to watch the U.S. Open, right? It's just what you got.
Yeah.
You're going to go there, regardless of who's playing. So, but it was good. It was kind of cool to see Koepka win. I lost the bet though, because I was picking Barnrat to sneak in there, under the radar and do that one. So that cost me a couple of dollars. And but I think Brooks winning this one after Aaron Hills where he went, well under par, and then this one being bounced around. I think it validated. There's a lot of talk about him validating his victory from last year because of the way the setup was this
Oh
year
yeah,
and all the different things. And Curtis Strange thinks he could three-peat next year, which isn't
yeah.
isn't out of the question. So he hit some great shots. That wrist certainly doesn't have a problem as a swath he took out of
No,
there, and you know.
after hitting it out of that fescue, yeah, he has no problem with that wrist.
No kidding. What most impressed you about Brooks' play this week or this past week?
I would say just kind of his resiliency. Like he knew the course was playing tough, and he didn't make excuses like a lot of the other players that were bitching and complaining all day about it. He said, it is what it is. We all have to play the course. Well, again, we talked about it. The course was basically 3 different courses or 4 different courses for those 4 days. Even Saturday, there could be some talk about the morning wave having a different course than the afternoon wave once that wind picked up. But he just kind of, he kept his, his head down and just kind of kept working. He knew it was going to be a grind, and you could tell the confidence he had. He goes, this is my tournament. Somebody has to take it from me, and they're not going to. And I think he just knew the course, and it was kind of a open course like the one he won last year at Erin Hills. It was kind of the same feel to me with the course. But I think just his resiliency and the way he was just able to buckle down, and he knew he had to play that tough course, and that was he had to get through it to get this back-to-back win. And I thought the way he said it, at the post-round interview, he goes, yeah, this was a tough course, but I had to grind, and there was like a few up and downs he got. There was like all those par saves. All those par saves won him the tournament. He misses one of those and he's tied with Fleetwood, but he just grinded, man, and he showed a lot of resiliency. He didn't get down when he was, would get a bogey, he'd get a birdie right back, and I was impressed, man. I've always liked him. I remember watching him when he was playing on the European tour, and anytime he came over here, I knew he was going to play well, because those guys play some shitty courses out there. So you got to be resilient. You got to be able to play all kinds of different courses, all kinds of different setups and course issues, and things like that. And I think it kind of prepared him for these tougher tests that the U.S. Open, kind of presents each year for the field. So
yeah. Well, he started the tournament, shooting a 75, right?
Right.
And that I think when I look back at this thing, people say, "Oh, you can shoot yourself out the first day. You can't win it the first day, but you can shoot yourself out." And even with that at 5 over, he came back with such that great 66, on the next day to say, hey, just keep your head in it, be patient. He made 6 birdies, that day against a couple of bogeys. And, a lot of you can let that slide off. So I think, my takeaway, my most impressive play from him was just the start. Hey, just stay in there, stay patient, and remember what got you there, right? That's how you get up and down so much, is you just remember the fundamentals of the things that you're good at, and you get in those positions and you focus more. And I think, that's why I'm going to go with Curtis and say, hey, the guy could win 3 in a row. So, and but that last round was another one. You watch that, and I saw so much golf like you and I play, not really, you understand what I'm saying? Not like, hey, we play like those guys, but it's, you look at a match play or example, the par 3 when, Brooks hit it off the back, right? And DJ plays a safe one right up short of it. That's got you and me written all over it. Right? You're like, okay, I'm going to try to get this as close as I can. I'll miss it long in the bunker. I can get up and down from the bunker. Great. You knock it up there. Shit, you make a 12-footer for bogey or 15-footer for bogey, right? I 3-jack it from like 35 feet. We both walk to the next tee making 4. I was like, that's golf like we play.
Oh yeah. Right. And I actually enjoyed seeing those lower scores, because again, like you're saying, it made it like I was able to relate a little bit more, even if I played that course, I would have shot in the hundreds. But like you see those shots where they hit it, they just don't hit in the right spot, and it goes down and it rolls 30 feet off the green. They just missed the wrong spot and it rolls off. It was, for me as a avid, very addictive golfer, it was fun to watch. But like I got friends that aren't huge golfers, but they enjoy watching, and they said they didn't like it. They didn't like seeing the bogeys and the double bogeys. Everybody wants to see that birdie eagle opportunities, and as a person that golfs all the time, I enjoyed watching that. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but I kind of like seeing him suffer a little bit. Kind of made him look human.
Well, we do it one time a year, right? So
Right.
that part's always fun. I I'm with you, but there's the other things like if you don't watch golf or you're trying to get into golf, you get excited by looking at these things or the shootouts. I mean, I'm not like totally excited about the tournament at the start of the year where they go 30 under in Palm Desert,
Right.
right? Where you
Yeah.
got to shoot 8 under every day to even have a chance. But when you watch this, or it'd be nice if I'm a you know if you're like we are, where we're really into the game and you're playing, and we're going to shoot 74, 75, and might have a regular of those. Sometimes I look at this and I go, hey, look at that, man, they're all like shooting the same number I am. Oh, this guy got it together and he went under par. Okay, that's like us, right? You're just like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm watching on TV instead of going, wow, well, shoot, they're just throwing 64s out there like it's nobody's business. I'm scrambling like crazy for 74,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Or whatever, right? And you look
Absolutely.
at this and you go, hey, that kind of feels like me. Hey, hey, I threw a 76 up today. Hey, and I threw a 67 tomorrow. Wow, I got it all together once, right? So it's kind of fun. But the balancing act is, giving these guys, I think the best tournaments I think that I watch are when they come in around between 9 and 12 under par.
Yeah.
When guys that led the first couple of days, they might get it to 5 or 6 or 7 under through two, and then they might go backwards the next 2 days, right? And somebody
Yeah.
works their way
Yeah.
up. It's just I think those are good fair tests. But the hangover on the U.S. Open is it's I don't know, fourth or fifth year now where it's just getting worse, right? They don't have any.
Yeah.
They can't walk away going, we got a great one finally. The monkey's off our back, right?
I mean,
But
there's always complaints. There's always something. There's always, like Ian Poulter was like, yeah, they can't take a mulligan again, for this thing. He goes, I can't take a mulligan, and I could have used a few of them
yeah, I think it was six, right?
out there the other day.
I think he's like,
Yeah,
I'll take six.
And then I was shocked to hear Johnson. What's his first name?
Zach.
Zach Johnson. Did you see him rip into him too on live TV on Fox?
He's like, this thing got away from him.
He's like, yep, it got away from him. And the person was kind of shocked to hear him say that. And it was, I mean, it was bad, but then you look at other people, if they hit it in the right spot, you're okay. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, the misses were small. There was like a 3 foot by 3 foot little circle you could hit it in to hit it in the right spot, on that day for a few of those pins. But yeah, it's just, I mean, I enjoyed it, but it also was kind of a letdown, like you were saying. There was way too much controversy around it. Like, I mean, with Augusta, there's never any controversy. With for some, like the Open Championship, there's always, I mean, they just always prepare for it a little bit better than the U.S. Open. I think the U.S. Open is trying to, maybe trying to rewrite the, like the setup of a golf course and trying to be a little bit too challenging. When I think Shinnecock with just a little bit of water on it is still going to play tough as long, you still have to hit the right shots. But, I think for a major championship, anything between like 5 under and 10 under with everybody in the, in the mix where there's just, constantly trading the leaderboard back and forth. I mean, that's a lot of fun to watch, where this Sunday was kind of like, well, Tommy Fleetwood, fired a good round, but, Brooks was playing so solidly that there was nothing they could do, and everybody behind him was, I mean, DJ was falling apart, everybody's falling apart, and that just comes down to play, but it wasn't coming down to the wire. I don't feel like we've really had one this year so far that's been a, real exciting finish.
Yeah, no, I mean Jordan gave us a little bit of hope on Sunday at the Masters, right? He kind of got this thing running, but he was still just that bit out, And
Yeah.
it was just you're sitting there watching, and Patrick was doing what he needed to do down the stretch, and
Absolutely.
just kind of keeping it there. I mean, I think if Tiger was there, he would have played the same way that Patrick was, and then when he needed those extra strokes, he got them and stretched the thing back out. But it was two events that, those are my times, man. I'm on the couch. I'm ready to go for the final rounds of the majors and the first two. I'm kind of like, okay. Well, all right.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing to cheer for.
I don't golf on those Sundays because I want to start watching the coverage first thing in the morning, and then I want to watch every single tee time. I want to watch every shot I can. You know, I have my iPad, my phone, the TV. I have everything just kind of going around just to soak it all up because, you know, it only happens once a year. And, you know, we just haven't had that this year, but hopefully the Open Championship will yield something a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, breakfast at the Open though this time, right? We're gonna watch in the morning. But yeah, I'm
Right,
with you.
yeah.
I hope it does. DJ's the pick though. You see him; he's already the early betting favorite
Yeah,
too on
I
that.
saw
So
that. I saw that. And I think Brooks Koepka, he's got the game for that links type of golf. He hits a low flighted ball. He's you know, he knows how to manage his trajectory. You know, he doesn't put too much spin on it. He hits such good shots. He's my pick right off the bat for the U.S. Open or for the Open Championship.
yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all. I mean, he did it at Aaron Hills. He rolled all over those knobs and put that ball where he needed to be and proved
Yeah,
he can do it. So
and he's used to playing on those courses. Like I was saying, starting out on the European Tour, he had to grind out there, and it was, they don't. I think over there, like, they don't hold it to as high of a standard as they do on the PGA Tour. They're like, this is the golf course, go play it, which I love about the R&A. So I think I think he has a good chance to win more than one major this year for sure.
all right, man. To close out this U.S. Open hangover, what was your biggest surprise of this U.S. Open?
The biggest surprise. Ooh, man, that's tough. The biggest surprise was kind of just watching. Well, that's kind of boring though. I don't know, Finau and Berger, seeing how they went from, being like tied 45th or 50th to being in the final group leading the major. That was a huge surprise. I mean, obviously the course helped out with that. But I don't know, seeing Phil do that was extremely shocking. Man, I don't know. There was a lot of surprise. There was too many surprises to narrow it down to one.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. I mean, if you look online, it looks as if the biggest surprise is Mickelson doing that, right? I mean, it's all
Right.
over the place. I think that was a great story. They needed a storyline, but to see Berger and Finau, right, go
Yeah.
from T45 or whatever they were to playing in the in the final group on the tee, I didn't think we'd see those guys, right? I thought we were going to just see them for a few holes and they disappear, and that's kind of what happened. And then all of a sudden
Yep.
they kind of worked their way back in. I was like, hey, this is kind of cool getting these guys back on TV here,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah. They
But
kept grinding back. They would birdie and then they would bogey. They were like, they'd shoot themselves in the foot. And Finau was my pick when we had our little bet going on. I thought he might come out and, with the course being so soft, that they actually might play well like they did early in the morning on Saturday. But they just kind of, I think it kind of caught them off guard. They weren't really able to, to prepare for the moment, as best as you can, get ready for that moment. But I was hoping that they would do a little bit better and maybe push Brooks and DJ. Honestly, thought it was going to be DJ and Brooks the whole way. But, I mean, Brooks and you got Tommy Fleetwood that almost breaks the U.S. Open record with a 62 and just killed it out there. But
yeah, no kidding.
and again, he's another guy from the European Tour. Like I'm saying, man, those guys grind out there. It's just different, I think. Just because I watch a lot of golf and I watch European Tour too, and I just think the courses they play are way tougher than the courses that the PGA Tour people play.
Oh yeah, and they don't have the history
And
on those courses either. I mean, those tournaments don't have the history, so they're not playing on the same courses for 40 years or whatever.
Exactly.
Right.
They're going out and they're out there fresh, and they have to, basically feel. They have to, just see the putt and feel the putt. They can't just look at their yardage book and know, like, oh yeah, I remember this breaks this way, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest surprise for me, excuse me, even though we've had some of those other good storylines, was the difference in DJ's putting from the first 2 days to the last 2 days.
Right.
And
Right.
I mean, obviously I watched it. I didn't think about it. Maybe he was doing it, or maybe I just noticed it more because they made a big deal about it now. Watching his brother Austin doing the aim point, and I'm an aim point guy. I do the aim point, and the previous show you bagged me for doing the line. You put my line in the ball, but anyway, it seemed like Austin was so much more involved. right? He's like, I got it here. He's like, he pointed over here,
Yeah.
and awesome. And DJs usually like the camera comes on him. He's like standing there, he just hit the shot. Like, wait a second. Like, it's almost
Yeah.
like
So
it's like they need to
yeah.
keep a camera with them the whole time, or they're gonna miss how fast he plays, right?
Right.
And it just seemed like it was, I mean, just completely off the map to the point where you were thinking like, he'd probably three putt that. I mean,
Yeah.
you were
I
just
mean,
like, and sure enough, he three putts it, and he gets down there,
he
and you're
did
like, you
not
got to
look
be kidding
confident.
me.
Yeah.
No, but I think the other thing too is, DJ rises to the huge moments. Now, obviously, I say that, but he didn't pull it off on the weekend. But I think
Right.
being paired with Tiger and Justin those first 2 days was a completely different like vibe, right? Big
Hmm.
mix, big crowds, big play, and I think it thinned out on the weekend when you kind of broke it around and people were gone. But it's one of those things I looked at and I was like, oh man, he can run away with it. But I think, if he had been paired with a Justin Thomas or Jordan or other guys along the way, I
Right.
think, I mean, Brooks is his buddy, right? So that's like, hey, we're just out playing buddy golf. But I think he kind of lost the momentum of the challenge of the names around him and what was happening,
Hmm.
and just went different. But the biggest surprise for me was how involved Austin was with his putting and just how extreme it went, in the
Oh
last
yeah.
2 days. So
No, that's a good point. He didn't look confident. I mean, he kept calling him in, and like you're saying, he never really does that. He usually just goes up, sees his line, and hits it. And they were even commenting on it. They're like, he's slowing down. He's not going through his same reads. He's not doing his same, pre-shot routines and stuff. And yeah, that was definitely different. Now that you say that, I guess my biggest surprise, now that I think about it a little bit more, was probably Jordan, um, Jason Day, Roy McIlroy, Tiger Woods a little bit. He's still coming back. But to see all those big names go out as bad as they did, that was a shock for me. I was a little let down by that, because you want to see those big names up there. I want to see Rory and Jason and DJ and Brooks and shit battling it out on a Sunday. Not to have them go out and basically go, well, it's a two-horse race. Let's see who can get this done. That kind of took the wind out of the sails a little bit too. But I think them not making the cut kind of was probably the biggest shock for me.
yeah, it was. I mean, I mean, we get it week in and went out or week out, but it's the U.S. Open, right? It's going to be full of surprises. It's going to be full of controversy. It's going to be a U.S. Open. That's all. That's all you can say about it, right? So they didn't have a hole for 10 Cup to bang it over to the finish line, but it was enough to give us another hangover. So we're done. We'll get a lot of those guys though. The Travelers Championship coming up this week. So those of us that are ready to look towards another golf, I think we'll see a good one there for
I'm
sure.
looking forward.
Right.
I'm looking forward to that, but I'll tell you what I'm most looking forward to is our major over at the Walnut Creek. I guess Westminster major is the Heaven and Heck, right? Is that our major?
That's our major. That's our major. So heaven and heck.
Major.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great event. It's we play the US Open local qualifying setup, and on Saturday we actually do it backwards. Bubba and the crew there who do a great job, but were nice enough to set it up and say, hey, let's have our really difficult day on the first day, and then the much easier day on the second day. So we get heaven on Sunday. And I think you sent a quote out earlier. Let me see if I can find that. There was something you sent to me earlier that made me crack up, and I thought where was it? Where was it? Hold on, I gotta find that one because that this is a good spot to use it for that. Hold on, I gotta tell you that one. Yeah, here. Many people see golf as an elitist or snobby sport without realizing it's a game 99.6% compromised of degenerates who drink and gamble for 4 hours. so, so I think our major, has a big percentage of the 99.6% in there, but
Yeah.
it is, it's a really fun one, and we look forward to it every year. And
Oh yeah.
I think we're gonna have a good one now. So it never disappoints. But we're back. On the golf course ourselves playing. We got the Travelers Championship coming up to record and watch afterwards. And I hope we play a at least I hope I play this weekend a lot better than I played last night, because Eric pinged me afterwards, and I told him, I said, I think I could have played better left-handed. And he said the same, but we'll get it worked out. So anyway,
we'll be ready to go.
Yeah. All right. Hey, brother, thanks for joining us on the FORE show.
Yeah, of course.
And we'll be back at you. When we getting on the course next?
I think I'm playing Friday with Eric and them. Yeah, for the clown fight before
Do we have?
I think it's like that $10 buy-in or something.
Yeah. Is there a time? Because I was trying to figure out who had a group.
I think Eric has some extra spots, so I would talk to him. I think we're teeing off at 2. And then I know Ed Hall had one at like 120 or something as well for a foursome. So I think if you just ping it, you either hit up Eric. I think it's just the 2 of us right now, maybe 3. I'm not sure, but
I'll hit him up.
I would talk to Eric because he has it. So.
All right, wonderful. Hey, Joey Madrid, aka Savvy, thanks for joining us today. Drive safe out there, and I'll see you for the clown fight on Friday if I don't see you before.
Awesome. Sounds good, man.
All right, take care, brother. Thanks.
All right, later. Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening today. If you like the show, we're just kicking this thing off, so share us on your social media platforms. Help us get the word out. We've also just launched our Facebook and Twitter pages, and you can go straight to theforeshow.com if you'd like to send us a comment right on our homepage. And you can also send me an email if you like to greg@theforeshow.com. That's GREG @theforeshow.com. On behalf of Joey, a.k.a. Savvy Madrid, and myself, Greg Pattison, thanks for listening to The FORE Show. Hi, it's Greg Pattison, host of The FORE Show here. Look, we all know golf's hard, but the folks at Got Golf make it a lot easier. My first experience with Got Golf began 5 years ago, and I can truly tell you, if your goal is to regularly beat your buddies, win that club championship, maybe even compete on tour or just enjoy the golf you play, Got Golf is your answer. Find your best ball flight today with a custom club fit experience like no other. Go to gotgolf.com to learn more. That's GOTT golf.com.